when you have the process behind this is that you're going to multiply two numbers together here up on top. So you're multiplying two factors. Two numbers. And those, oh, somebody closed my door. You're going to multiply two numbers together to get 8. And at the same time, they're going to have to add up to the bottom number here. In this case, -6. Now, think about the signs. All right. We have two numbers that we have to multiply together to get 8. Now, how do we multiply to get to a positive 8? What kind of factors? Just the signs. Negative times a negative equals a positive, right? So negative times a negative equals a positive. How else can I multiply two numbers together to get a positive number? Two positives. Positive times a positive gives me a positive negative. Speaking of which, how do I get a negative number when I'm multiplying two numbers together? This is my positive times negative, right? Or negative times positive. Okay. So here I have a positive 8, but at the same time they have to add up to a -6. So what kind of signs are going to go here? Negative times a negative, because we're going to add those together to get a 6. Now, the factors of 8. This is like the prime factorization we were doing the, 2 and 4 are going to add up to 6, right? 2 times 4. 2 times 4 equals 8. -2 plus -4 equals -6. How about number 3? What are going to be my signs? They have to multiply to a negative number, so they have to equal a negative number. So the signs are going to be, well, one has to be positive and one has to be negative. One has to be positive and one has to be negative. Well, we're going to look at the factors of 28. We have 1 times 28. 1 times 28 equals 28. 2 times 14 equals 28. And 4 times 7 equals 28. Now, we're actually, because we have opposite signs here, we're going to be subtracting these two numbers, right? If I subtract these two numbers, which one's going to give me 12? 2 and 14. 14 minus 2 is going to be 12. Now, we want the higher number to be negative because we're going to come out with a -12. So the 14 is going to have to go here, and the 2 is going to have to go there. All right. So, sure, yeah, go ahead. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Let's do number 5. They have to multiply to a negative number, so what are going to be my signs? They equal a negative number, so my signs are positive and negative. All right, two numbers that multiply to 18. Well, I got 1 and 18. 2 and 9. 3 and 6. Now, again, we have opposite signs, so we're going to be subtracting the numbers. Which ones? 1 and 18. Good. Which one's positive? Which one's negative? Careful, it's a positive 17. So the higher one's got to be positive. I could have put the positive 18 over here and the negative 1 there. It doesn't matter. How about number 6? Again, we have 18, negative 18. So what are my numbers? Positive and negative. Okay. Let's see. Here's 18 factors over here. We're subtracting them. 3 and 6. Good. And the 6 has to be negative. Thank you, Jonathan. Number 8. Okay, I have a positive number. So I'm going to be using one of these two. But they're going to add up to a positive number. So I need positive times positive, right? Okay. So I'm going to use, well, there's only one way to multiply two numbers together, and that's 1 times 7. Now, what we're doing here is we're actually factoring quadratics, okay? If I was to expand this, or actually write it out, continue this, my factors, remember, what are factors? Factors are two numbers multiplied together. Two numbers multiplied together. To get a product, right? In algebra, this is our product here. X squared plus 12x plus 32. That's our product. So I got to get two numbers together. Two numbers. I'm going to put them in parentheses because of the x. These are my factors. This x squared plus 12x plus 32 is the product. And the way we do this is standard form is of a quadratic is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay. So I need to put, this is our product. I need to put it in factored forms to get that standard. Okay. Now, if I were to put this in, continue this, it would be in factored form, and my factors would be x plus 1 and x plus 7. Those would be my factors to get the product. So when we do the product, when we go straight from a product, we're actually, you can use this diamond method. If it helps, go ahead and make a diamond for all of these. And for my multiplication, it has to be a positive 32. It's my C. So there's my positive 32. That's C. And then for adding, it's my B. It's the coefficient B. In this case, my B is positive 12. Positive 12. And then you just go ahead and figure out two factors of 32. They're positive. Write down, guys. So I got a positive times the positive to give me a positive 32. Now the factors of 32. 1 and 32. Remember, I'm adding these. 2 and 16. 4 and 8. And I think that's it. Now, since it's the same, I'm going to be adding them 4 and 8, right? And these become my factors. X plus 4 and x plus 8. So that's how you factor a quadratic when our coefficient is 1, when a is 1. Notice there's no coefficient in any of these x squared terms. Now, you can do this on every single problem, but it might take you a while. Okay? You should, by the end of this paper, all of this practice work, you should be able to do some of this in your head. Like, okay, I'm going to factor this, so that means I'm going to need 2 sets of parentheses. The only way to get x squared, now remember we're FOILing, right, to get back. So the only way to get x squared is x times x. Let's see, I need 2 numbers that multiply to a positive 20 and add up to a 9. So I need a positive times a positive because that's the only way. My 20, positive 20 would go up here. My positive 9 would go here. So I would have positive, positive. And 2 numbers that multiply to 20 and add to 9. 4 and 5. Now, if you really need to, go ahead and draw those diamonds and work them out. 13. Okay, my C is a positive 9. My C is a positive 9. My B is a negative 10. Okay, so I have 2 numbers that are going to multiply to a positive and add up to a negative, so they're both going to be negatives. Negative times a negative is a positive number. And factors of 9, 1 and 9, and 3 and 3. We're adding them, so it's going to be 1 and 9. Those are my factors. N minus 1, N minus 9. Okay, let me do a few more because these do take some practice to get used to. Okay, number 15. I'm going to draw my diamond. My C is 20, positive 20. My B, negative 9. All right, so I'm multiplying numbers together to get a positive 20 and add up to a negative. So they both have to be negative. And actually, we did this one, I didn't think. 4 and 5 add up to 9. So my factors, x minus 4, x minus 4. How about 23? See, my C is 28. My B, negative 11. Positive, so they either got to be negative times a negative or positive times a positive. Since they're adding up to a negative, both have to be negative. 4 and 7, yep. All right, let's flip it over. Why don't you just do the 44? Okay, 1 through 44. Practice. Today is Tuesday.